So last 2 weeks I was at the Cubicle and then traveling around with Ting Man doing live events with him.
Cool.
And I got to
Cool.
hang out with Jesse in person for the first time. And
Nice.
Jesse was the first person who I ever watched Rubik's Cube videos. Like, I watched a video on Rubik's.com and it was a YouTube video. And then when the video ended, it autoplayed into a JR Cuber unboxing. And that got me into cubing, was the JR Cuber stuff. So meeting Jesse was crazy. But after JR Cuber, you were the next person who I like really loved your videos. And your videos were like my favorite thing pretty consistently for most of cubing. So having you reach out to me and want to talk was really, really fun.
Wow, thank you. No, that means a lot. It's so cool to hear. I love that.
Yeah. Well,
it's funny. I was also a big JR Cuber fan before I started YouTube, so we have that in common.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, right now, cubing is not the main focus for you, it seems. And knowing now that you're into rap, I started noticing it in all your old videos. Like there's Q&A videos going way back, and in your Nationals vlogs, you talk about listening to Migos and warm up. How long has rap been part of Daniel's life? When did it start, and when did you really start being drawn to it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I like looking back, it's really obvious to me. Like you said, there were always signs that this would be my path, even when I didn't know it. I think I started really actively listening to rap in like probably sophomore or junior year of high school or so, which I feel like is around when most people start to like develop their own music taste and not just like the music taste of what's like on the radio or what your parents play. And so I feel like that was when I really started like paying attention to it. But then looking before then, whenever I was exposed to rap, I feel like I always just liked it. Like that sound, that's like that sort of delivery of lyrics was always cool to me, even in like very, very nerdy situations like the Donkey Kong rap, if you're familiar with that.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember I heard that as like a little kid and I memorized all the lyrics just because I thought it was so cool. And so, like even like way back then, before I really had my own proper music taste, I was always like sort of drawn to rap. And then like high school is when I started like really actively listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was just as a listener. When did the creative side of music start for you? Did you play instruments or sing in like a traditional sense before you started producing rap music?
Yeah, I took piano lessons as a kid for like 5 years or so. But for whatever reason like that, it never really clicked with me. Like, it's a long time to commit to something that you're not really that into, but it was more like my parents wanted me to take piano lessons.
I did that for 12 years. Yeah. I did that from age 5 to age 17. It was, you will do this because it's helpful. So I understand.
Yeah. You know the feeling. But yeah, so I guess like I took piano lessons. I was okay at it, but it wasn't really my passion. But I always found it cool when I did like get good at performing a certain piece. It was like, oh, I can make music. That's cool. So there were still things I liked about it, but just that wasn't really my preferred form of expression, I guess. And then I guess like the first time that I really started like trying to write music was also probably around high school. Like I did you might be familiar with some cubing raps that I did back in the day. If we count like I'm R, you are, prime, you prime, and I know it. Like Derpy and I wrote those lyrics together way back. And then I had like the Derpy Cuber diss track in like 2016.
I remember. I was around.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was like, I guess like those were probably the first times that I really tried like writing my own lyrics. And in that day it was more of like as a form of YouTube content and, like as a parody of like actual music and not really trying to make my own like unique songs. But I had a lot of fun writing those lyrics and I always felt like, I had a little bit of natural skill for it. Like I would say, looking back, I think my lyrics were pretty weak back then, like just being completely honest. But at the same time, it was like better than I would have expected for somebody who never tried to write music before. Like I felt like I had a little bit of a sense for it. And I felt like it was something that I could improve at. So then like, I think probably around senior year of high school, maybe like late junior year, sometime around then, I started like, I would just write lyrics, like rap lyrics in a Google Doc and just keep them there and then maybe like rap for my friends or things like that. I wasn't trying to really record it, but I would just like you know, write some bars and try to share them with people. So that then became like a big passion of mine. And then over time, like once I got into college and like I guess maybe end of senior year of high school, I started like recording it just with like my Blue Snowball mic. And like I didn't know how to do any vocal mixing or anything like that. But you know, I would record it and then like obsessively listen to it because it's like, whoa, I made this. You know, even if it's not very good, it was like I was just so hyped that like that's my voice. Normally I'm listening to like Migos or whoever, you know. But now it's me. So that was a really cool feeling back then. Yeah.
Okay. Huh. At what point did you start to have the inkling that you wanted to take it seriously, even if it's for a season of your life?
Yeah. Looking back, I actually do really remember a conversation I had at the very end of high school with a friend. Where like, I mean, that was pretty much just when I was like starting to write lyrics for the first time, like dabble in that. But like, I remember mentioning to him that I kind of wanted to like rap, you know, like actually like release music and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I don't really remember this conversation too well, but I vaguely remember like that I got the vibe from him that he was like, dude, that's really hard to do, you know, like not to discourage me, but to be like, you know, you're going to need to put a lot of work in if you want to do that, you know, because where I was at the time was I didn't have any songs or anything, you know, so I think he gave me sort of a reality check. Um, and yeah, from there, I think pretty much all throughout college, I kind of just went hard on like trying to record as much as possible, and like hone my craft and like write lyrics as much as possible. And I think, yeah, pretty much for my whole time at college, I thought it would be really nice if one of these songs I'm putting out happens to blow up and I can just be a rapper, you know? I wasn't like taking it so seriously where it's like, this is my main thing. Like I was still focused on, you know, like learning what I wanted to learn at school and, you know, doing all the like traditional things. But I sort of had that hope in the back of my mind of like, oh, it would be pretty cool if I could do this, you know? Yeah.
Okay. What does the growth path actually look like if you're trying to make money or make this a career? I know so little about how the music performance industry works. There's a streaming bucket, there's an in-person events bucket, there's you growing in skill as a music maker, there's networking with other musicians. There, like, I don't know what the variables are and what you're trying to do right now and what's coming next.
There are a lot of variables. That's a great question. For me right now, the main place that I see like that I can see money coming in is from doing performances. You know, there are a lot of, you know, it's like a pretty predatory industry a lot of times. Like there are a lot of people who will be like, oh, you need to pay to perform and things like that. You know, people who are putting on shows to like acting like they're trying to help small musicians get somewhere, but they're actually just like in it for their own, you know, their own money. But yeah, so I'm not doing any of that. Like every show I'm doing, like I'm putting on, you know, I'm reaching out to venues and I'm like, hey, like let's work out a deal. And then I'm selling tickets myself, you know.
Right.
And so that's like the main source of income. Like a show can definitely bring in a decent amount of money. Obviously the more people you can bring to the show, the better you're gonna do. But yeah, and then beyond that, like there's, you know, royalties from streaming like Spotify and things like that. It doesn't pay a lot, especially when you're like at a like smaller artist level, like where I'm currently at. Like I'm not getting much from Spotify, but you know, it's not zero. And then for me, there's also the YouTube side of things, where I'm, you know, really trying to grow my YouTube presence again with DG the artist, and have that be monetized at some point where I'm like, you know, able to bring in some income from that. And then beyond that, another thing that I'm like really looking into for this year, now that I'm like officially full time with music, is syncing. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that term in the music world. Basically syncing is like getting your music in some other medium like movies or video games or TV shows or, you know, YouTube videos, whatever it may be. And then the people who are using your music will like pay you some licensing fee for it.
Yeah.
So like a simple example of that, I mean, like one syncing opportunity I had not that long ago was with the Premier Speedcubing League. They used Skate as their theme song for season 1. So we worked out a deal where they could like license it from me. And then, you know, it's a win-win. They get some cool music and then I get some promotion and some kickback like money-wise from that. So yeah, that's something that like is a big way that smaller artists can make money too. If you're able to find like good syncing opportunities, it doesn't really matter how much of an audience you have, because like people are willing to pay for good music in their, you know, in their other creative endeavors. So yeah, that's another place.
So what does the day-to-day actually look like? Because when people say you're gonna be a rapper, I'm thinking of the meme where it's like what my friends think I do, what my mom thinks I do, what my boss thinks I do, what I actually do. Like the stuff that you just described to me is not what I was expecting you to talk about. So what does life look like now?
Yeah.
Because
well, I mean, there's
other things too. Is like you're no longer working at a big tech company. You're married. Like those are also giant life change things on top of whatever the whole music thing has to do with it.
Indeed. Yeah. Great questions. Yeah. So, I mean, the day to day, there is still a lot of the stuff you'd expect a rapper to do. Like I'm recording a lot. You know, I'm mixing my music a lot, just like sitting there on my computer, making it sound good, you know? And then I am doing like a decent amount of performances, going to open mics, even stuff like that, just to get my name out there more. So there is like a good amount of like rapping, like actual rapping. But then, yeah, beyond that, like a lot of the time is kind of just I'm sitting on my computer and I'm like reaching out to people about, you know, whatever it may be. Like, can we work on a song together, or like can I do a show at this venue? Or hey, Brandon, can I get on your podcast? Like whatever, you know, whatever it is, like a lot of just communication with people like that. And then what else? What else am I doing? A lot of video editing is like a big thing that's been taking a lot of my time up lately because, you know, I mean, I'm sure you know, as a YouTuber yourself, editing can take a while. So
I'm very intentionally have optimized my channel so that I don't have to edit.
Oh, really? You don't?
Yeah, basically at all. I basically
incredible.
I basically go into a transcript and I hit remove pauses if something has that, and then that's pretty much it. For a podcast like this, my wife will help me like line up the videos that'll download. But when I started the channel, I knew that I hated editing. And I also knew that my favorite videos didn't require editing. They required me becoming invested in the person on the video. So I was going to constrain myself to only making content that required little to no editing. So that's really I basically don't edit. And that's just a self-constraint, but it makes it more likely that I will keep making videos for the long haul.
Mad respect for that, honestly. That's incredible. I might have to look into like more edit list type of content. But yeah, I mean, as it stands now, my videos definitely require a decent amount of editing. So that takes up a lot of my time, and just like filming videos too. Even if there is no editing, I still spend a good amount of time just on camera. In front of the green screen, figuring out what I want to say. Because I don't like script my videos either. Like, so a lot of times a 10-minute video will take like 40 minutes to film. Where it's just like for every few sentences, I'm sort of like re-recording them a few times, trying to get it to sound like, or trying to say what I actually want to say. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's like, that takes up a while, like a good amount of time, in my day to day. But yeah. And then like you mentioned, you know, I'm married, and I quit my job. So I have just a lot of life stuff going on. Spending time with my wife is like one of my favorite things to do, but she's also working full time. So like during the actual like 9 to 5 hours, we're mostly doing our own thing. And then we hang out like after work for dinner, and we watch TV together or play video games or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do like, it is really nice the time that's freed up since I quit my job. Like I do have a lot of time to just like practice Megaminx and stuff. I've been on a big Megaminx grind in the past couple years, so that's been fun. And yeah, so like when I'm not doing music stuff, there's still a lot of time for like a lot more time than I used to have for hobbies that aren't like actually my job.
Right. How do you do with a lack of external guardrails? Because you went from big tech on-call server maintenance to this. Do you enjoy being in control of all of it? Do you still have productive stuff get done? Or has it kind of been like, whoa, I don't know if I like the complete freedom?
I do like the complete freedom. Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I think it works really well for just the way that I do stuff. Is very like I'm a very motivated person, I guess. You know, when there's something I want to do, I'm gonna get it done one way or another. So you know, sometimes I do just need a break, and I'm just gonna sit there and like scroll on YouTube for a while, or like, you know, just cube for an hour when I'm like procrastinating on sending an email or something like that. But you know, in general, like that procrastination never really lasts too long. You know, like I always get out of that funk, and then I'm able to like get stuff done for the day. And then I've also been keeping like a log of everything I do, which really helps. So like I don't know if you've seen the Road to J. Cole feature series I've been
Oh
doing
yeah,
on my
I'm
channel.
keeping up with it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so that's like my self accountability, where every week I'm just like sharing everything I've done for my rap career in the previous week. But then in preparation for those videos, every day I'm keeping a log of everything I do.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just a really small thing. Like sometimes it's literally just like I replied to an email. I'll still put that in there, you know, because like I like to have that proof for myself that like, you know, at the end of the day, if I feel like, it wasn't a very productive day, I can look back and see objectively, maybe it actually was kind of a productive day,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's been huge for me, just keeping that log in a Google Doc. And then I use that log to create the Road to J. Cole feature video. So I like that because even if one week I have to miss the Road to J. Cole feature or whatever, like I'm still staying accountable by like keeping my own log of everything I'm doing. And that's like pretty huge for me. Yeah.
Yes. To zoom out a little bit, but still focused on the rap stuff, why music? Because I don't normally associate the love of creativity and music with people who are in computer science or big tech or speed cubing, or the stereotypes don't mix. What is it about music, or the type of music that you do, or the way that you spend your days now? What is it about that draws you?
That's a really good question. You're really good at this. Yeah, I would say like a lot of it kind of feels like therapy to me almost. Like just being able to really get my deepest thoughts down in like with the constraint of it has to sound good is like you know, just a very satisfying pastime, I guess, you know. Like I think back to my song "You Deserve the World," which is like the last song on my most recent album. And on that song, it's like I think probably to this day, like one of the realest songs I've ever written. I spent like a long time trying to write that song and just like get all my thoughts out about how I was feeling at the time. And I just couldn't do it for a while. You know, it was like solving a puzzle. Like I was trying to figure out how to get this song to sound good and to really represent where I was at the time. And it just wasn't working. But then eventually, like one day, everything clicked. And I don't know, maybe it felt like it's maybe similar to like understanding F2L for the first time.
That sounds like that is a computer programming way of explaining the joy of it. You have a hard problem, you're trying to crack a coding issue, and then after a few days, like you see the solution and like the endorphins you get from finally figuring out this big coding problem. It's like, it all fits.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big part of it, definitely, is like just figuring out how to get my feelings out in a way that resonates with me and with other people potentially, you know? So that's huge. And then also like, I think, I feel like we as humans sort of all have a creative spirit in one form or another, you know? And this is just really the way that I found my creativity expresses itself best. You know, I'm not a great like visual artist. Like I don't think I would make movies very well. Or I don't think I'd be a great like comedian or magician or whatever. But music really hits for me. Like I feel like you know, being able to write lyrics that feel very meaningful and personal to me is something that like something I feel like I can do in a satisfying way that really like, you know, it satisfies my like thirst for creativity.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess it's just that's the one that like I was really drawn to is music.
Thirst for creativity lets you express yourself. In my head, when we started talking, I kind of had 3 buckets of what I wanted to talk about. There was music stuff, there was like career/fire stuff, and then there's cubing stuff. I have questions about music still, but I think we need to talk about like fire career stuff so that those questions make sense.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. If the thing that fulfills you about the stuff that you're doing now with rap and music is like, I have an outlet, do you feel a sense of like fulfillment, or I like what I'm doing when you're like useful and seeing like tasks get checked off or dollars come in, because you went from like pure I have a job where I can prove tasks and prove utility, which is like the entire way that I register. Like I love things that feel like I'm concretely being useful or concretely making money or something, right? The whole creative expression thing, zero registration for me. So I understand what you're saying, like in theory. I just feel nothing. So how was it just like when you were working at Twitch, when you were working toward a goal of having a certain amount saved up so that you could be independent, was that purely to get to like, I can now do creative stuff? Like it was pure mercenary? Or are there parts of that that you still enjoy, where I like the process of, you know, accomplishing tasks, I like feeling useful, I like building some sort of like objective concrete skill?
Yeah. I tried really hard to like the process. But maybe that's a sign that I didn't really like the process that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I try to be optimistic in life in general. You know, like I was recognizing the whole time I was at Twitch that there's so many people in worse positions, who would like, you know, and I should be very grateful for where I'm at and just enjoy the process of like, you know, building up some savings so I can pursue my creative dreams. But yeah, honestly, like there were some times on the job where I felt like, yeah, that felt good. You know, like I wrapped up a project and, you know, I just felt like I did it well. I guess those times like felt good, but overwhelmingly it was more like I'm here so I can get to where I want to be for real. You know, like, so yeah, I don't know. I guess really to answer your question, like concretely, like obviously there are going to be some things I enjoyed about my job. Like I feel like you can probably find some things to enjoy about any situation you're in. But like after the sort of very beginning of the job when it was still like kind of new and exciting, I guess.
Yeah.
After that period, it was very much like, yeah, this is like at a baseline, this is a job and it's an okay job. I'm not mad at it. And then like, you know, on some days it was like, I am mad at this job and I just really want to do, you know, follow my actual passions.
Yeah. Okay. So the job gave you little to no like actual fulfillment or joy. When did you find out about the
fair to say, yeah.
idea of like fire or saving money so that you can live off the interest and then go do something else? I heard you reference Fat Fire in one of your videos. I think it was the Quit My Job at Twitch one that you posted like a month ago. When did that enter the picture for you? Because it sounded like that was the main reason you didn't drop after like, you know, 9 months in.
Yeah. You know, I'm not sure when I actually first heard of the term fire. But I remember like, I think even before I started working at like a family event one time, I remember, my uncle was just saying something like, you know, if you get $1 million, then you can just stop working and get 7%, gains in the S&P 500 and you'll get 70,000 a year and then you're good. And, you know, I was just hearing that, like, I think maybe he was frustrated at his job or something. And he was like, you know, just wanted $1 million. And so I heard that and I was like, you know, I actually never thought about that. You know, like it just never really registered to me that there's a certain amount of money where the gains from that money can be your income instead of just the money itself being your income, you know?
Yeah.
So that, I think that was when that became a thing that I was considering. And I'm pretty sure I wasn't even working at that point. So it was always kind of in my mind. And then once I started working, I mentioned this in my most recent video that I posted, I think yesterday or something. So I don't know if you've had the time to see it. But I was talking about how I had a financial advisor when I was starting out at Twitch. And in the end, that guy was not good. He kind of screwed me over. He led me down a whole life insurance path that I'm not a financial advisor, but I would not recommend doing.
Yeah.
So I ended up ditching that guy. But like while I was working with him, you know, he knew that my general goal was to like save up money and then quit. And he was like sort of telling me that, yeah, you can do that. You know, like you can work towards a certain amount of money and then live off those savings forever. Like he was confirming that that's a thing. And then it was really like 2024 when I ditched that guy and started like handling my finances on my own that I started, you know, reading up on Reddit a lot about personal finance and, you know, got into the FIRE movement. And yeah, that was like sort of when I realized that, hey, maybe this is something I can do. And like to clarify, I'm not at full FIRE. Like I don't have enough money right now.
I think you've said that. It's like a it's a temporary thing.
It's temporary, yeah. I'm at the point where like what I have can sustain me for a good amount of time. But I'm still like, I don't have I have a small enough amount that I still need to push myself to make this rap thing work, you know?
Yes.
So
What's the go no go point? What's the you need to double check yourself point?
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I've been having to ask myself about things in my life. My wife has been like, you have all these ideas that will eventually work, but in order to responsibly use your time on all these ideas that could work, you have to have a point where you're going to say, I will pursue this to it working, or I'm going to jump ship. And you have to plan that ahead of time so that you can't gaslight yourself as you go and like, no, it'll work, or no, it's too hard, I'm going to jump ship, even though it should work eventually. Do you have a point like that, considering fire is not completely done yet, so you can't just like, do it for the joy of it
forever,
but you also like really want to push yourself on it.
Yeah. So I talked with my wife about this a lot too, because obviously my finances affect her life as well. So it's not I'm not just doing I'm not just on my own here. So we talked about this. We've talked about it pretty extensively, and the main idea right now, I'm still working out like exact numbers, but I have stuff on paper, so I can't lie to myself about it, like you said. But the general idea is like, in 2 years, I want to see, like, really take a hard look at where I'm at. And I have a few, like, basically just like if statements of like, okay, if I have this much money, and like, it's sort of conditional. It's based on like how the stock market does too, because like, I don't want to say like, oh, if I have this amount of money, then I have to find a new job, but the stock market like just crashed 50% or something, that's not my fault. That's not because rap isn't working. So there's like conditionals in there, but the idea is like, if I'm at this threshold, then I should actually start looking for a job, like another job, if I'm at this slightly higher threshold, then I should, just really try to make rap more profitable, but it's not super urgent that I look for another job. And then like, if I'm at this another higher threshold, then it's like, okay, you're good. Check back in another 2 years.
Yeah, so it's largely financial is what you just said. It's not like, oh, if my skill is at a certain point, then I should keep pursuing it. It's more just the practical. Right. Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like the skill thing, like in the music world at least, I'm always trying to make my music better. I'm always trying to like sound better and stuff. But at a certain point, like, it's not even skill related how well you do. There's a certain amount of it that's just like either luck or like just does this resonate with people. And maybe you could argue that that's a skill in its own. I think it probably is. But like there's a decent amount of luck that comes into play too. So I feel like that, like, how many subscribers do I have, or how many monthly listeners do I have, or whatever, isn't necessarily like a measure of how good at rap I am. You know what I mean?
Right. So it's mostly going to be reliant on, are enough people listening, and practically can we keep feeding ourselves off of it? It's less of a creative thing. Okay.
Yeah, it's really more about like, is this reasonable for supporting me and my family? Like, to be fair, my wife works too. Like, she's also supporting us, but like, I don't want to be a deadbeat. I want to be like still providing for us, and pulling my own weight. So if it's becoming evident that I can't do that, then I would need to find some other thing to do.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So
thank you for explaining all of that. I'm not trying to pry into your personal life. I'm trying to understand what you're shooting for, right? Because if you're on this 2 year, will it work or will it not journey? What's the thing that you're, I'm like, okay, DG's doing great right now. I'm hyped for him. Or, that's tough right now. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I will be, as you follow along, I will definitely be talking about a lot of this in like the Road to J. Cole feature series and stuff. Like just how things are really going. I think it'll be like pretty evident to an outsider, like based on how many live shows I have going on, and like, just how many views my videos are getting, things like that. But so we shall see. But yeah, and the 2 year thing is more of like, the way I see it now is it's more of a 2 year check-in. My guess is that if this doesn't work long term and I do need to find another job, I'll probably stick with it for 4 years is my guess. The only way I like find a new job immediately after 2 years is if I've spent way more money than expected, and like, it's just really not going anywhere, so that's kind of where I see that.
Cool.
But
so
for
we got
like a
DG
4 year
the
plan
artist
is
to
more
stay for a good while
Yes,
then.
hopefully. Yeah, I
Wow.
mean, at least 2 years, probably 4 years, and then if you want more, you got to stream the music and and come to the
Yeah.
shows.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's really, really cool that you have a chance to do
Thanks.
this. Like it's that's awesome. Um,
Thank you.
so does back up even more.
Mhm.
Um, how has cubing like affected the path of everything to this point? I remember
Mm.
this seminar that you and Arian did at some nationals. I've never been to a major, but I watched all the
Oh,
YouTube
wow.
videos. And
Yeah.
you and Arian did that seminar about how cubing gets you into college. So obviously that influenced your life trajectory pretty substantially. There's
Mhm.
probably friendship stuff that has to do with this, but like we'll talk about cubing as like a fun thing soon. But while we're still on
Mhm.
like the grown-up stuff, how has cubing affected the opportunities you've had, the relationships that have had a meaningful impact on like things you've gotten to do or who you are as a person as Daniel?
Mhm. Yeah. I feel like I owe almost everything to cubing. Like you said, that seminar Ariana and I gave about how cubing got us into college. Like, I'm very confident that cubing got me into Princeton. Like, that's the reason I went there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I went to like a pretty nerdy like tech high school. It was a public school, but like you had to like apply and get in and all that. And so I was surrounded by a lot of people who were way smarter than me and like who had better grades and all that sort of stuff. And some of them got into Princeton, but not all of them did. And like there were definitely people who were like smarter than me and didn't get in. So I'm like attribute that to cubing. And then from there I feel like college was huge for me. Like it's where I met my wife. I met a lot of my great friends in college. It's the reason, well, I mean it's one of the huge reasons I was like prepared enough to work at Twitch, and like probably part of the reason I got my original internship there and like then transitioned to working full time.
Mm-hmm.
Um which in itself has allowed me to now pursue music full time because Twitch paid well. So yeah, I feel like, I mean, all of it can just be traced back to that one thing of cubing. Um, and like, even beyond that, I feel like just going to cubing competitions throughout my whole childhood and everything, and like learning how to like get good at something, by practicing cubing a lot has been huge for me. Um, like, helped my social skills. I feel like I'm just a much more confident person, like being able to talk to new people I meet and stuff because of my experience at competitions. So yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I probably owe like everything in my life to Erno Rubik and the cube.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
wild, man. How
yeah.
much of cubing growing up was you trying to get good versus you doing
Mm,
it because you love the process? You just said that cubing taught you how to get good at something. And you
yeah.
obviously have your, the national Pyraminx championship. I
Hmm.
forget the year, 18, I think it was.
18. Yeah.
But
Hmm.
um, you never really struck me as like a competitive person. It was more of a, I enjoy the cube.
Yeah.
Were you trying intentionally to get really, really good? Or was it like getting good to a point is fun?
You kind of nailed it, honestly. It is, at the end of the day, it was just that I enjoyed the cube. Um, or the pyramid, whatever the case
Yeah.
may be. Yeah, I feel like a lot of my peers at the time, and even to this day, like when I see really competitive cubers, a lot of times I feel like the competitive side of it gets in the way of the joy of it. You know, um, like people sometimes are so focused on I'm going to get a world record or I'm going to be world champion or whatever it is. And then like they're practicing, but they're not even enjoying the process of practicing, you know? For me, it was more like I love solving cubes. It's like to this day, like my biggest way of, just unwinding at the end of a long day is just like solve some cubes, put on a YouTube video in the background and just cube. Um, and yeah, so I feel like the fact that I loved it so much was the reason that I was like, okay, I'll keep practicing and get good. Like now I have a reason for doing this. Because it's like I can show people like, hey, I'm actually good at this now. Like I really do have a reason to be practicing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I think maybe in a way you kind of nailed it. Like getting good was more of an excuse to practice as opposed to like practicing being the way that I get good.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. Because like even to this day, like now I'm not going for any world titles or I don't really care about my world ranking so much, but I do love beating my own PRs and all that. So I'm still practicing. Um, yeah, like my excuse nowadays is just like, yeah, I'm getting better. I'm beating my PRs, and that's why I practice.
Yeah.
But really, at the end of the day, I practice because I like turning puzzles and seeing the colors come together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually like an extremely common explanation.
Yeah.
Among the cubers I've talked to that are like very good,
Mm.
they essentially all got there because they just liked the process of competing, not the
Mm-hmm.
outcome of it. At least the
Yeah.
ones who do it on their own without some sort of external motivator,
Yeah.
which has been eye-opening for me because I started
Mm-hmm.
like this is not about me, but I started cubing
No,
because
I'm curious.
I started like the YouTube channel more recently because I wanted to see if I could get competitive results, and I
Mm-hmm.
realized like a few months into it that number one, I don't think I'm like innately talented enough to reach the highest standard deviation, like the highest point on the bell curve, like all the way out. There are so many standard
Sure.
deviations of talent required above what I have to get to like the
Mm-hmm.
top 50 of especially 3x3. I don't think I
Mm-hmm.
have that in me, but also if you don't enjoy the process, you just can't get to that level. Every single person I've spoken to at the highest degree, at the highest level, has some level of love for the process. There are
Yeah.
also people I've talked to where it's like a love for the process combined with an identity around winning equals like unhealthy obsession, but you need the
Yeah.
love of the process to get there anyway. So that's cool that you did that. Did it ever become like an unhealthy thing? Or was it like your relationship with cubing was always fairly good?
I had moments, I guess, where I put a lot of pressure on myself competitively. But it never got as bad as I saw it get for some other people who were like
Mm-hmm.
competing at a high level. Um, like it never reached the point where I would like dread practicing or anything like that. It was more like I would be very sad about an official result, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if I had really been practicing an event and maybe like, oh, I had a really good opportunity to get a great result and I just choked or whatever. Or like I think back to Nats 2017, that was very eye-opening for me because it was my first nationals finals. I made Pura finals there. And like I remember I put so much pressure on myself. And like just because I knew that I was capable of podiuming, like in theory. And so there was just like I got really stressed out about it, and by like the third solve, I literally couldn't feel my hands, like they went numb. So I did terribly, you know. And yeah, like I felt bad after that final round. But like I came back from it pretty quickly. Um, and like yeah, I don't know. I feel like I tried to just have a positive attitude and like be resilient about things like that. So I mean, I feel like for me, the main struggle I had was just like with competing when it didn't go my way. That was tough. But like, I was never like freaking out for months before a big competition, like just grinding 8 hours a day or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Like, it was always like I was doing what was fun. And then when the
Yeah.
competition came, if it didn't go well, then I get sad for a little while, you know?
Yeah. So when you won
Yeah.
Pyraminx at Nationals, how
Mhm.
much of a fluke was it? Because you said it seemed like in
Yeah.
theory you could podium. So
Mhm.
does that mean that like, okay, so my average of 12 PB in CS timer could make the podium if these people do like was it that kind of logic, or was it
Right.
just I solved well, the others didn't? I don't know what the Pyraminx speeds were, what the hardware allowed, how good you were, how good the
Mhm.
others were at that time.
Yeah. Okay, a lot of thoughts on that. So I think when Nats 2018 happened, which was the year I won, I'm pretty sure I was averaging like low 3 second range. Like global average was around there. It was I think my PR average was like 256, which, was very good, like ranked top 10 in the world at the time. And I was like, I think reasonably regularly getting sub threes. I might be wrong about that. Somebody can fact check my WCA profile, but at the very least, I know like sub threes weren't like crazy for me at the time.
Yeah.
And so sub three felt like if you can get that, you have a pretty good shot at podium. Like nobody was going to be getting like a low two average. That would be a crazy fluke. At the time, if somebody was pulling off like a 2.2 or lower, I feel like. And so I figured, okay, if I'm chilling in like the high two range, there's like a good shot at podium. If I'm in the 3 second range, probably not. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
top 5, top 8, something like that. But yeah, like it felt very possible. I did not feel like I would win because Drew Brads existed. Drew Brads, like he was a great Pyraminxer, like considered the GOAT by many. He really dominated for so long. And like the thing that's interesting about Pyraminx is, it doesn't matter it actually doesn't matter so much what the specific times are. It's more like, you know, how
it
you
has
do
so much
for
to do
that
with the scramble set. So much.
Exactly.
Like tips and first V or first top, like whatever method was meta at the time. That was L4E. How many people in that final did L4E? Like you,
That's a
I
great
know most
question.
people talk about like you being the one that started pushing L4E, but I know there were more than just you at the time that were sort of adopting it.
I think the entire podium, me and Livia and Henry at that competition were L4E users. But it wasn't like 100% the meta yet. Like, I mean, Drew Brads was top first still. I think Benjamin Kyle, I'm pretty sure he was top first. I don't know if I don't think he was at that comp, but he broke the world record single around then.
Yes.
So yeah, like a lot of, there were still like top first was still viable. But yeah, like V first was like definitely taking over at that point. I'm not sure what percentage of the final round was using V first.
Okay. What was the
yeah,
hardware
I'm pretty
you
sure
were
the entire
using? Was that
podium
Bell V1, Moyu V1?
Oh.
Because like I feel like with hardware there was a certain point where like around the Mr. M it was like okay, turning is like V first turning is now more practical, and then the Switch really took off. But what did you win on? Do you remember?
This is crazy that I'm not even sure. It was either the Moyu Magnetic, like the first Moyu Magnetic, or the Bell V1.
Okay, but I can't even remember. Then.
I know I mained both of those for some period of time around then. I can't remember what I used then. I'm sure it's in the description of the video, but
yeah, we can. But someone can go dig it up. Someone can go dig that up.
Yeah.
Huh.
But sorry, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't have a question.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. I think there was something that we were talking about before. Oh, it was like, how much of a fluke was it? I think was your original question.
Yes, that was the original question. It sounds like you performed about to where you were expecting, like good performance relative to your at-home averages, and then Drew didn't perform as well as he wanted to.
Yes,
in the final.
That was the key, because I felt like, and maybe other people can argue this in the comments if you want to, but at the time I felt like it was kind of like Drew and then the rest of us, you know. And so it was kind of like a battle for second and third place in my mind. So, you know, I was like, okay, if I do well for me, I'll probably get second. Like, that was kind of how I saw it, you know, unless somebody else really pops off. So I was kind of thinking second or third, like good shot that I'll be in that range if I perform to my standard, you know. And then Drew will be first, obviously. Like, that was just a given. But then Drew did not perform at his best. You know, he just had a bad round. It happens to all of us. And so then it was me. So I would say it was a fluke, because it definitely depended on Drew not performing at his peak. So like, I guess I would say winning was a fluke. Podiuming was not as much of a fluke. It was just like, I did well, you know?
Yeah.
Controlled my nerves and like did well under pressure.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Okay. Is there any part of you that wishes you were still like, you know, top 20, somewhere in the competitive zone? Or is the competition kind of a fun byproduct, but not a core driver for you?
Sorry, can you repeat the beginning of that? You cut out.
Yeah. Is there any part of you that wishes you were still ranked kind of around that top 25 area, so that, you know, you have the skill to be competing at these big events? Or are those high-level competitive things a fun byproduct, but less of a core draw for you?
Yeah, it's kind of both. It's in between. You know, if it just so happened that, I don't know, I was going to Worlds and for whatever reason I'm in the top 10 best people at a given event, I would be really hyped, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put in all the work it takes to do that in this competitive climate, but like, I don't know, if a meteor hit half of the world and I was the best surviving pyramid solver, you know, I would be excited to compete. Yeah, I guess so. I guess like the way I see it now, it's like, yeah, it's a fun byproduct. If it were to happen, like I still love podiuming at local comps. You know, I'm able to pull off some like Pyraminx and Megaminx podiums and stuff in the Washington DC area, which is fun.
Yeah.
So I like the recognition that comes with it, but as far as like having a great world ranking or things like that, it's just like, it's nice when it happens, but I'm not like putting in all the practice that would require. And honestly, like that might even be giving myself too much credit. Like, I don't think I can do it anymore. Like, I don't think like you were saying, I think I'm too many standard deviations away from what I would need to be able to do to be like a top level pyramid solver in 2026. So
Yeah. How much
yeah.
better do you think the top 50 is versus when you were there in terms of the amount of hours they've practiced or the skill / knowledge they have?
Yeah. The knowledge has definitely improved. People are using algs now, which is, in the beginning, everybody was using algs for everything, with like top first and stuff. And then V first rose up and it was like, oh, you can do this all intuitively. Like, forget about algs, and now there are algs again. People know algs. So the knowledge base has definitely increased in that way. What else? I guess turning speed is just insane nowadays. I remember there was a meme a while ago in the pyramixing community called Terror Speed. I don't know if you've ever heard of this meme.
Yes.
Yeah. So Terror Speed was defined as 9 TPS or higher. And once it became a meme, it was probably, I don't know, late 2010s, early 2020s, sometime around then. When that started, it was like, oh, if you can get Terror Speed, like it's a really good solve. Now it happens like somewhat regularly for the top solvers. Whereas like for me, if I have a Pyraminx practice session, whenever I get a good time, I like calculate TPS to see if it's Terror Speed. And I've had it happen very few times. Like I pretty much never get Terror Speed. Whereas like it's become a regular thing for the top guys. So
yeah.
So algs and just turning better, I feel like is huge. As far as like the amount of hours they put in, I can't really speak to that because I don't know how much they're practicing. I might argue that it's probably not that many more hours than we were putting in the 2010s. Maybe I'm wrong, but I guess like in China in particular, they're probably putting in a lot more hours because it's like taken a lot more seriously there.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the American solvers are just like in the Western world in general. I don't know. They're probably not putting in like a crazy amount more hours than I was doing when I was like at my peak.
Yes.
I think it's just that they have better resources. They know a lot more and they have that talent to be able to turn really fast.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, maybe they are putting in way more time than I was. I can't say.
Yeah, and hardware that enabled them to learn toward a different end goal from earlier on.
Mm-hmm. The hardware is huge for Pyraminx because, like, for me, where is the Pyraminx? Here's one. This is not my main, but it's a Pyraminx. When I was starting out, like, all U moves, you had to do like this, like reach in the back and turn
with
it.
The Moyu especially, you had to.
Yeah, so I do that still a lot, and like that's a really hard habit to break if you grew up doing it, and like I've gotten better at not doing it all the time, but like pushing in the front for a U is just like it's weird to have my fingers here instead of here. So that's like a really hard thing to change. But yeah, like with the new hardware, you just start out doing that, because you're not using a Shangshao Pyraminx that does not turn well. So yeah, hardware has definitely helped.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let me double check if I had any other things that I was like, were burning questions about this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think I did. Yeah, that's really it on that stuff. Dude, like, as you're becoming an adult, what has changed about how cubing fits into your life or how you view it or what you find fun about it? Because the way that you feel at a cubing competition as a 15-year-old is this crazy sense of, I have never felt like I fit in anywhere, but here I have friends and it's normal feeling. And as an adult, you probably either find more outlets for yourself or you make yourself more shaped to the world around you. So you get that sense more often, or you get married or something like that. So what keeps you coming back now? Are your friends still at the competitions you go to? Is it just the joy of the solve? Something else?
Yeah. It's interesting. A lot of times nowadays I find myself, like, before I go to a competition, I say to myself, I might not stay the whole day. I might just do a couple events and leave or whatever. Because like I am an adult, I have a lot of stuff going on. Even if it's just like I need to go grocery shopping, it's like,
yes,
I might not stick it out for the whole day, but I way more often than not find myself actually staying for the whole day. And like, I don't really know what it is. I think I just, I feel very at home in the cubing world. You know, a lot of my friends don't go to the same competitions I go to now because I moved from where I used to live, and a lot of my friends have moved too. But you know, I've made new friends at local competitions and stuff who are my age, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's interesting, like, it's a totally different vibe. When I was 15 going to cubing competitions, it felt like every comp was like a party. You know, it's like this is the day you're looking forward to for months. You get to see all your friends, you bring all your cubes, you build a cube tower, whatever it is, you know.
Yes.
And you're just like having the best time of your life, and you're probably gonna get like super sick afterwards. But you know, it's like that was what it felt like at that age. Now it's like way more low key. Like I usually just hang out in the staff area, even if I'm like not staff, because I look like staff. Um, and you know, I'll help out a lot at the comps and stuff. I'll scramble and just like chat with the other scramblers, and you know, just hang out with other people who are over 20. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's like it's a very low key vibe, but I really enjoy it still. You know, like the camaraderie is there. It's just not as much of a big party as it used to be, I guess. You know, it's
Yes.
more of like
Yes.
a hangout, a casual hangout with some homies.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Whereas I feel like actually, it's really interesting that you bring this up, because I feel like now, like open mic nights and concerts and stuff that I'm doing are like my replacement for that feeling that
Hmm.
I had as a kid. You know, like there's this one open mic night in the area that I love and I go to like all the time. And like every time I go, you know, a lot of times I'm there till midnight or whatever. And I'm
Yeah.
just, you know, like loving it. Like it feels like a party, you know. We're just all getting on stage doing our thing. It's like a big community. We all know each other. Yeah, it's great. So I feel like that has sort of replaced that aspect of what cubing was for me when I was a kid. Um, and cubing has filled like a different niche. But
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm. I've experienced similar stuff where when you're younger, it's this giant thing that is built up in your head, and it's this super amazing, high adrenaline, crazy awesome day. And now it
Mhm,
feels much more chill to go to
mhm.
competitions, to hang out. In general, it feels lower pressure unless I put heavy
Yeah,
pressure on myself.
yeah.
I practice more intentionally now, so I get more joy out of the solving experience.
Mm,
But yeah, it like you end up having to go other places for those feelings as an adult. I
yeah,
have
yeah.
noticed that as I've grown up, I feel increasingly more at home at a cubing competition, probably
Mhm.
because I've become like more comfortable with the fact that I like probably have autism, and there are a lot of
Uh-huh.
social settings where it's like things that I do instinctively are considered weird, whereas at a cubing competition, a lot of the instinctive ways that I want to interact with people are totally normal. Like it's fine to have full
Yeah.
conversations. Like you walk up someone staring at your cube that you're still solving, you just start talking to them without making eye contact or saying hello,
Right.
and then you just
Yeah,
leave
yeah.
halfway through the conversation and neither of you thinks anything of it. And it makes me so
Yeah,
happy.
yeah.
Like I could
Yeah.
never get
No,
away
that's
with
so
that
real.
anywhere
Mhm.
else, but it's so normal at a cubing competition.
Yeah.
That like you said, the low key vibe and just going to relax. I'm starting to like enjoy competitions for that reason, not
Mhm.
for the party feeling or the camaraderie or anything like that. Although that all
Yeah.
is, it will probably. I'm looking forward to going to NAC this year because I'm hoping that I
Oh,
get a
you'll be
little bit of
there.
that sense there. Oh, I'll be there. I'll be there.
Nice, nice. Are you gonna be at the concert by any chance? Have you heard about it?
There is a concert. I did not know
There
that.
is a
I will have
concert.
to look into the
I
details.
Yeah. I'm doing a concert on Friday night after the competition. It's gonna be like all cubers pretty much. So if you want that party vibe, I think that's the place to do
Right
it.
on. There we go. I'll look
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah, I'll send you the link
Um,
after this. But yeah.
Great. Anything I didn't ask about that you care a lot about and want to share or talk about?
Hmm. Um, well, on the note of the concert, I guess actually that would be great if maybe we can get the link in the description.
Sure, for sure.
So you know, any cubers who are going to NAC, if you want to come, it's going to be a great time. If you've seen my previous ones, I did one at Worlds last year and at NAC in 2024, and it was like two of the best nights of my life. The
Yeah.
feedback was always great afterwards. Like you can just tell from the videos that like the crowd was loving it. It's an awesome time. And like I'm not saying this to like hype myself up, but just like I'm trying to put on this great event for everybody, and I feel like it's going to be like I think this one's going to be the best one yet. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, so tickets are available if you're interested in showing up on Friday night. It's right near the convention center. So,
Cool.
yeah, yeah. Trying to think if there's anything else to go over. Um, let's see. Um, I don't know. I'm kind of curious, like, about your, like, where you came from in cubing, you know, because like, you know a lot about the old days. So like, how long have you been doing this? And like,
I've
yeah, I don't know. I'm
been
kind of just curious
speed
about your
cubing
history.
at home for 12 years, 13 years.
Cool.
I didn't go to a competition until 2018 is my ID,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
I was on YouTube learning for all the time before that. There were rarely competitions nearby, and when there were, my family couldn't make the drive. Like, it wasn't a huge priority. And
Right.
cubing was also something where my family didn't quite understand like what it could be. They kind of like, I was a very obsessive kid, and so it was like no video games, even though I love video games, which was like a whole thing. And then like, well, cubing is cool, but like rein it in a little bit. So I cubed a good amount growing up, but I never got
Hmm.
super fast. It was always casual, but I consumed all the YouTube, and I always had cubes around and was always learning. 2018, I went to 2 comps, and that was super fun, but it wasn't like this unexpected, wow, there's other people like me. It was like, I know exactly what's going to happen because I've watched so much YouTube and I've done so many cubes at home. Um,
Right.
and then at the same time in 2018, I also discovered speech and debate. And my biggest driver is competition of anything in the world. And so I
Mm.
had 2 things that were competitive, and one of them that has a bunch of super clear like social life benefits, and one of them that has less obvious social life benefits. So it was like
Yeah.
I could keep going to cubing competitions, or I could start going around to speech and debate competitions. I
Hmm.
enjoyed speech and debate more, and my family was more behind it. So I invested in that until COVID happened in high school. And I didn't
Gotcha.
cube as much because it was like, well, I'm going to go all in on one thing. Like, I had cubes around, I would mess with it. In college, I there was this family I met. They had a kid who was like 12 or 13, 11, 11. I think he was 11, and he was into cubes, and we cubed some. And like I said, I had cubes in my dorm room this whole time. I always messed with them.
Yeah.
I was always watching the YouTube. I just wasn't competing. And he
Hmm.
wanted to go to a cubing competition. So I decided like I would uh, take him to a competition because he's a friend, his family were friends, and I wanted to give him this experience. So I went to a
Hmm.
competition in 2024 in Central
Oh wow.
California, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh dang, this is still really fun. And so my
Hmm.
whole senior year of school, and while I did my master's degree, I practiced a lot at home and went to
Mm.
competitions around SoCal. And then I
Hmm.
finished school, and I was like, well, time to grow up, time to not cube and focus on
Uh-huh.
work. And I met this girl who's now my wife, and all this stuff. It was like, well, to be a good adult, I can't also have this like cubing thing because it's like not
Sure.
what a good husband is supposed to do and whatever. And after I got married, I was talking to my wife, and I was like, I still just really love cubing, but I only want to spend time on things I'm going to actually do well, if that makes sense. Like,
Hmm.
I
Right.
don't like doing things halfway. And having a cube and fidgeting with it never sat well with me because it felt like a waste of time. And
Hmm.
so I forget how long ago this was. This was like 6 months ago now. I decided to like
Mm.
keep practicing, but
Yeah.
make YouTube videos about it so that like, let's see if I can get competitive. If I do, that's
Yeah.
great. If I don't, now I have these videos out there where if I go to competitions, it's easier to make friends and it opens up
Hmm.
opportunities if I travel. So I've
Yeah.
always loved the cube. I've always kept up with the community, but I only
Hmm.
decided to start like being proud of the fact that I'm a cuber and tying my
Hmm.
name to it publicly and committing to it as a grown man where like, yes, I'm an adult, but I want this to
Yeah.
be a part of my life and something that I commit to and like actually give back to the community instead of just kind of like sitting on the sidelines and watching all the videos and enjoying the puzzles. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's
lifelong
awesome.
lurker,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Gotcha. And
yeah.
I mean, you're so right. Like, being a YouTuber in the cubing world is such a hack to having a better time at competitions. Like, you know, people start to know who you are and stuff, and I don't know, ask you to sign cubes and things. That's always so cool.
Yeah. I mean,
But
going on
yeah.
this trip um, with Tingman and doing Tingman live with him the last week
Mm. Hmm.
was eye-opening for me as well, because the videos that I make, I very intentional, like I have a very specific sort of person in mind, like the 16 to probably 30-year-old, maybe above that, like, you know, with a family who cubes as a hobby but cares about the cube as a thing. They're not in it
Hmm.
for shorts, they're not in it for entertainment. You know, they're not the unboxings and TikTok guy. They're like, I just like the cube and I will
Right.
happily just enjoy the cube, and I want to find other people who like the cube.
Hmm.
And Tingman's videos appeal to a very different sort of person than that. And he
Hmm.
knows that. He does that on purpose.
Right.
But he makes his videos because he is genuinely convinced that making these entertaining videos about silly cubes and unboxings and stories makes a certain type of person's life better. And I had trouble visualizing that. Like, he invited me to go on the tour with him. I said, yeah, let's do it. So I went to the cubicle. Seeing the cubicle was great. But as I started meeting these people who were involved in cubing and who consumed Tingman's content, I met literally hundreds of families on this trip where, like, watching Tingman's content, like, unites the family. The kid gets into something and then the parents get into it, and then they all road trip to competitions, or they come to this thing, or this kid who is, 12 and has had very few friends other places, like, found Tingman, and Tingman was engaging enough that it held their attention, and then they dug into cubing, and then other things happened. And I saw so many people who Tingman actually impacted that it was like, wow, that's really cool. YouTube can make a positive difference in people's lives. And the craziest thing was this was happening to me too. Like, there were these people who were coming up to me and they were like, so this is our son and he's like kind of nervous, but he does watch every video and he's been practicing the way you said. And he started like going to the gym because you talked about these workout things and like you're impacting him. And this happened at each of the shows. Like, there were people who made a point of talking to me and saying, like, your videos have helped me. They have impacted me very positively. So that was really cool too. And now
isn't that like, isn't that just such a great feeling? Like, having people
amazing.
Come up to you and say, like, the thing that you did, like, has made my life better. Like,
yes, it's the most gratifying thing. So now I love making videos because I get to have conversations like this. I get free cubes from the cubicle sometimes, which is really cool. I got to go on this trip with Tingman. It gives me motivation to keep getting better at different things. Like, I'm, got this clock and I'm learning 7 simul and I'm like failing a lot and having fun with it a lot. Like, it motivates me to try new things. But I started the videos because I was like, I want to be competitive. Turns out that's probably not my path. But there's a whole lot of other cool things that the videos have opened up. So I have no plans to stop that and stick around cubing and try to keep making other people's lives better somehow.
Dude, that's so cool. I love that. Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's weird because when I started making all these videos and stuff, I was like, I'm going to be competitive. Like, my whole goal was like, I want to win something. That's not going to happen, number one. Like, everybody at the top is just so much better than me. And number two, I don't think that would actually like bring me as much earthly joy as the other impacts of these videos, right? There was I don't know if you saw the timer glitch 6x6 solve that I got in like December. That was really odd because I did not like, when I got the solve, I assumed it was fake, but then like people watching were like, no, that was good. And I was like, okay, I'll get excited about it. And then we found pictures where it was like, no, it was a timer glitch. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. Like, but I got this momentary dopamine rush of like giant improvement. And like, having felt that, these other things are better. Like, it's not even close. Like, the real impact you make on people is just so much more meaningful than like, ooh, competitive achievement. So,
and you said you started the YouTube channel, you said 6 months ago?
Yes. Yep. First video went up in October.
Wow. That's insanely fast improvement. That's incredible, dude.
What improvement in what?
Like, improvements in like the channel growing and like getting to where you're at right now. Like, I mean, I was checking out the channel and it's like, you've got super professional stuff out there and like, talking to all these like big cubers and everything. And I don't know, like I hear your name in the cubing world, like I didn't realize that you just started that recently. So no, it's very cool. Like, I'm really impressed.
Thank you. I think that it's different now because of the way like social platforms distribute. If like I was making content that had a really specific target audience and I knew how, because I've watched so much content, I knew how to make content the hardcore cubers would watch. So all it took was like 4 videos for the algorithm to be like, we know all the people who will want to watch this. And then they all got recommended my content over the span of like a month. So because I targeted such a narrow group of people and the algorithms are made like really well now, it penetrated a very narrow group really quickly. So I don't know that it's just like me being good. It's also like tools and environment and a sense of luck. But thank you. I appreciate that.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think you're doing great. Because I mean, for me, I'm just thinking about when I first started on YouTube with DG Cubes, and like, I mean, the the quality is definitely something that took me like a long time to figure out. And like I feel like you've had it. I mean, you're 6 months in, so like this is still pretty early on, and you've got it, you know. But if you look, I mean, I guess I was a kid when I started, to be fair, but like my channel 6 months in was not anywhere near what you're doing now. So so no, it's very cool to see. You're doing great.
Cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anything else before we wrap up?
I guess, I mean, that's pretty much it from my end. Yeah, but thank you so much for having me. This is a really fun conversation.
Let's go. Where can people find you if they want to hear your music or follow along with who you are and what you're doing?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at DG the Artist if you want to follow along with my Road to J. Cole feature series. Any comments and likes and hypes and all that is always appreciated, because, you know, we're in the growth phase right now, so that always helps. My music is on all streaming platforms at DG the Artist too, so Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you use. I would recommend, if you're just getting a taste of my music for the first time, my album You Deserve the World is my proudest work to date. It's a whole concept album, so it tells a story if you listen closely from start to finish. What else? You can find me at Kings in Raleigh on July 3rd, the night after the competition, right after NAC, Friday night. So pull up. It's going to be a good time.
Nice.
And I think that's everywhere you can find me. Yeah, I think those are all my plugs.
Cool. Well, the last question I ask everybody on the show is, what aspect of cubing gives you the deepest joy?
What aspect of... This is a great question.
And this can be whatever you want. I've had people tell me fast times. Fast times give me joy. I've had people say the feeling of improvement. I've had people say the opportunities it's given me. I've had people say relationships. It can be anything that right now, this is like the deepest, biggest thing.
Yeah. Right now for me, I think the part of cubing that gives me the deepest joy is that it's a reliable way to unwind. You know, when I need to chill, I just pick up a Megaminx and I go, you know?
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's just really fun to like see myself getting times that I couldn't get a year ago, you know? I love that. I love the improvements, and I love the solving process. Yeah. And then, of course, the friends I've made through cubing, who I'm still super close with. But at this point, I don't even consider that like as an aspect of cubing. That's just great people who are, you know, huge parts of my life.